What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer, and today was a massive day for Overwatch 2 news. We now have a detailed roadmap for what to expect with the first few months of Overwatch 2, a content release cycle for what we can expect after that, as well as new information on new maps, heroes, cosmetics, and a ton of other aspects of Overwatch 2 like monetization, the competitive system, and much more. So without further ado, let's dive right on into the details, starting off with the overview of the roadmap for Overwatch 2. Today it was announced that Overwatch 2 will be adopting a seasonal model where new heroes, maps, cosmetics, and other content releases of all different types will be released periodically with these new seasons. Some details on these specific seasons: each season will run for 9 weeks before rolling over to the next one, and new maps and heroes will release in every other season in an alternating cycle, which means that one season you get a new hero, the next you get a new map, next after that another new hero again, which approximates to roughly about one new hero and one new map every 4 months, which was actually the same release cycle we had for these types of content back in Overwatch 1. Additionally, PvE missions will also be linked to seasons, which means that each new season will bring about new PvE missions and content to play. However, PvE won't actually be starting until sometime in 2023. There weren't too many details shared about PvE in this presentation, but there were a few things said, and I'll be talking a bit more about those a little later. But in addition to the gameplay-specific content, each season will also have its own battle pass, which contains various skins and other cosmetics. Yes, at long last, it has been officially confirmed now that Overwatch 2 will be adopting a battle pass system. And again, I'll be talking about that more in depth in just a minute, but first I want to focus on the specific details we have regarding the first season of Overwatch 2, which will be starting with the game going into early access on October 4th. This season will debut 3 new heroes, being Sojourn as a damage hero, the Junker Queen as a tank hero, and a currently unnamed new support hero. Now, it hasn't officially been stated at this point that this upcoming support hero is going to be the Kanazaka Fox Girl, but it has been very heavily indicated that it's going to be the Kanazaka Fox Girl, so safe bet on that one if you ask me, but I guess we won't know for sure until we actually get more details, which apparently we're going to be learning more about this specific support hero in the months ahead. Additionally, this first season of Overwatch 2 will introduce 6 new maps, being Circuit Royale, New Queen Street, Midtown, Coliseo, Rio, and a brand new announced map set in Portugal. Once again, I'll be talking a bit more about this Portugal map a bit later in this video, but also in Season 1 we'll be getting a new game mode, being Push, 30 plus new skins, at least some of which will be part of the new Battle Pass system, which I mentioned earlier, as well as a new Mythic Skin. Now, Mythic Skins are a new type of cosmetic, which, again, touch on a bit later because there's some interesting things to delve into there, but it was indicated on top of there being just a new Mythic Skin that this Mythic Skin will in fact be for Genji. Now, as exciting as it is to have this detailed outline of the first season of Overwatch 2, we also got information outlining the second season, which will be starting on December 6th, so roughly 2 months after the first season starts, and in this season we'll be getting a brand new tank hero whose identity and abilities has not been talked about at all yet, so bit of a mystery still who this is going to be, but I have some ideas. And there will also be a new map, which once again hasn't been specified where this map is set or what game mode it's going to end up being, but on top of this, 30 plus new skins again, another new Mythic Skin, this time for an unspecified hero, as well as a new Battle Pass. And even beyond Season 2, we also got a rather vague outline of 2023 and what we can expect for this time frame, which is that during the seasons which take place over the next year, we can simply expect more new heroes, more new maps, more new game modes, which will be pretty interesting to see what we end up getting in that regard, 100 plus new skins, as well as the debut of PvE. So unfortunately, we don't have a specific date just yet for when PvE is going to finally be playable, but we do know it is going to be sometime next year. Now, having covered the overview of the roadmap of new content we can expect between the launch of Overwatch 2 in October and the end of 2022, now I want to focus more on some of the more specific details and aspects revealed in today's event, and let's start off with what is probably going to be one of the more controversial announcements, the Battle Pass. Now, it's been suspected for a long time that Blizzard would be adopting a Battle Pass in Overwatch 2, and now we have official confirmation that it is coming, and they even gave what is seemingly just a placeholder image of what this Battle Pass is going to look like. If you've ever played any other game that has a Battle Pass system, I'm sure you'll find this image very familiar. However, there are some interesting things we can discern from it. First and foremost, it indicates that there's going to be both a free and a premium version of the Battle Pass, meaning that you can get some of the cosmetics just by playing it without having to spend any money, but in order to get everything, you're gonna have to spend money. Additionally, there appear to be some sort of associated challenges with the Battle Pass. We don't know if these are going to be daily challenges, weekly challenges, what sort of form these are going to end up taking, but we can very clearly see them indicated right here. In addition to this, it was also mentioned by the devs that there will be a new in-game store that accompanies the Battle Pass, and also that loot boxes will be removed. That's right, no more loot boxes. They're going to be gone in Overwatch 2. Now, speaking of the Battle Pass and loot boxes, next up let's take a look at some of the new types of cosmetics that were announced. As I mentioned earlier, the big exciting new cosmetic type is the new Mythic Skins. Now, not a whole ton was actually said about these Mythic Skins, but based off of the small amount of detail they did provide, it sounds like Mythic Skins are intended to be a more legendary version of legendary skins, essentially, that will include customizable details. So based off of the images they've shown here of the first Mythic skin, which is going to be a skin for Genji, you can customize the color scheme of it, presumably some of the lighting and visual effects of it as well, if it ends up having those, which overall sounds like it's going to make for a pretty intense skin. Now, we don't know the extent of customization for it, but it does sound like the intent is for these specific types of skins to be very customizable, and on top of that, be extremely rare. Based on what we've seen from the roadmap thus far, it looks like there's only going to be one Mythic skin added per season, so these are going to be pretty few and far between. If I had to hazard a guess at this point, I'd say that this Mythic skin is likely going to be the final thing you unlock for the season's Battle Pass, since it's easily the most exciting cosmetic item they'll be adding, but again, we'll just have to wait and see once the season arrives to learn any more details in that regard. Another new type of cosmetic, which was confirmed in today's event, is weapon charms. Now, we already got a little sneak peek of these last weekend during the initial Junker Queen reveal trailer, but yes, lo and behold, weapon charms will be coming to Overwatch, and we got some very interesting looks at some upcoming charms in particular. I wonder who this little fox might be. Possibly associated with an upcoming hero. I think that's pretty much a given at this point. We're all familiar with the Kanazaka Fox girl now, but I just love that they snuck in yet another little teaser for her, and there were actually a number of little teasers and secrets of this sort throughout today's presentation, which I will be covering in depth in a follow-up video after this one. So if you're interested in seeing more than just the base core information from this video and want to check out all the cool little teasers and tidbits that were snuck in as well, be sure to stay tuned for that one. But anyways, back to the cosmetics. In addition to Mythic skins and charms, they also announced banners as being a new type of cosmetic, but unfortunately didn't go very in-depth with what exactly these are. We can see throughout the video a couple of new types of emotes, they look like. One of them features the Junker Queen just sticking out a banner, as you would expect a banner emote to be, but then there's also ones where you have characters like Junkrat and Wrecking Ball holding up a little floating item. Wrecking Ball is holding up a little salt shaker, which is hilarious. Junkrat has a little GG that rotates around, and Lucio has a trophy. Now again, we don't really have much detail regarding what these are or how they work, but I'm gonna hazard a guess and say that you can customize what the little floating item is per hero, and then they probably just have a general sort of holding the item design like that. It's a bit unclear whether these are specifically the banner cosmetic type that they actually verbally mentioned in the video, or if it's like a new thing in addition to the banner we see the Junker Queen using, but regardless, it's another example of the types of new cosmetics we can expect to be coming with Overwatch 2. And speaking of the Junker Queen, next up, let's move on to talking a bit about her, because while we unfortunately didn't get a full kit breakdown for her different abilities and mechanics, we did learn a lot more about her and what all her abilities are going to be, in addition to, of course, getting her origin story and full animated short, both of which were truly phenomenal. But when it comes to the Junker Queen in-game as a hero, there is a ton more we've learned about her. We now know, based off the gameplay footage they showed, that she has 425 health without any shields or armor. Her primary weapon, the scattergun, has 6 ammo, although we still don't know just how much damage it deals. Her alternate fire is a thrown knife, which has a 6-second cooldown, and when it sticks an enemy, you can pull them in towards yourself by recalling that knife, and additionally, hitting enemies with this blade deals wound damage. Now, as many of you likely recall, there was that leak a few months ago talking about the Junker Queen's kit, and it mentioned that some of her weapons would have a bleed status effect that would deal damage over time to an enemy, and it sounds like now, based off of what the devs have said, that the status effect is actually called wound. So when a hero is wounded, they take damage over time. Looking at the Queen's other activated abilities though, it was confirmed that one of them is Commanding Shout, which boosts the speed and gives temporary health to both herself and nearby allies, and this ability has an 11-second cooldown, and she also has a big axe swing ability, which, based on the leak, also deals wound damage, although I don't think they actually specified that in this video, and this ability has an 8-second cooldown. Furthermore, her ultimate is called Rampage, and when she uses it, she flies forward, spinning her axe around, dealing damage, wounding, and anti-healing all enemies hit. Again, no specific damage numbers on any of these just yet, since we haven't gotten a proper breakdown or anything of her specific kit. This is all just information that was revealed by the Overwatch developers when talking about her during today's event. Now, before I wrap up this video, there are a few other more miscellaneous, smaller scale tidbits I wanted to talk about, including the fact that the new Portugal map, which was just announced today, will in fact be a push map, and apparently has a very unique layout. Now, we didn't get a proper full walkthrough of Portugal, unfortunately, but we did get a good look at a number of different locations from across this map, and overall it looks like a really cool place. Additionally, they announced some changes to competitive mode as well, with the key points being that there's now a new after-match report where players, after finishing a competitive match, can go back and look at all the stats, how they did, different aspects like that. And in addition to this, there are going to be new sub-tiers within each of the existing ranks. So presumably this is going to be like a Diamond 3 or a Silver 2 type system, basically the same sort of system which we've seen a lot of other competitive games use over the years. Another thing which was very briefly mentioned during today's presentation is that certain arcade game modes from the original Overwatch will be coming over to Overwatch 2, with specifically footage of Junkenstein's Revenge shown while making this statement. So even though they didn't verbally say Junkenstein's Revenge is coming to Overwatch 2, they do seem to be indicating that, at the very least, game modes like this will end up living on in Overwatch 2 in some form or another. And lastly, there was a very, very brief mention of Overwatch 2's PvE beyond just acknowledgement that'll be coming in 2023, where they basically showed a few clips from what we can assume are going to be upcoming PvE missions, where players are seen escorting an Omnic character, in addition to fighting off a bunch of Omnics in Gothenburg, which was one of the maps they highlighted as being an upcoming PvE map. Now, this one is a bit interesting because we know that Gothenburg was originally designed to be an assault map, but given that the assault game mode was removed at one point in development of Overwatch 2, it's still been a bit up in the air as for whether Gothenburg will ever exist as a PvP map, or if at this point it's merely been relegated to being somewhere we can go to in PvE. Unfortunately, there weren't really any details given about this, and very little information was provided about PvE in general during this presentation, but it was nice to see them include at least a bit of information pertaining to PvE, just as a sort of reminder that yes, PvE is something that's going to be coming later down the line, but for now, certainly the PvP side of Overwatch 2 is Blizzard's main focus. And that wraps up all the major new details we learned from today's Overwatch 2 reveal event. Definitely a ton of exciting new information, in addition to some, well, maybe slightly controversial reveals as well, but for the most part, I think there was some phenomenal things shown, and I am so hyped now to finally get my hands on Overwatch 2. And of course, be sure to stay tuned for my follow-up video where I'll be delving a bit more into some of the little background secrets and teasers and things they hinted in this video as well, because there are absolutely some juicy details to dig into on that front. But for now, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the Overwatch 2 reveal event by dropping a comment down below. Are you excited that we finally have a proper roadmap for what to expect with the Overwatch sequel? Or maybe you're just really hyped to get a sneak peek at some new content finally. Either way, I would love to hear from you, and as always, be sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, hit up that bell icon, and come join my Discord server to hang out and never miss any future Overwatch 2 news and content. And special thanks to my YouTube channel members who help make these videos possible. If you'd like to join them to earn some cool rewards, then just hit that join button down below. And otherwise, this is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.